Welcome everybody to Funeral Nation episode 88. I'm Ryan Thogmartin. That is Jeff, the funeral commander Harbison. This show, Jeff, would not be possible without C&J Financial and the Fast Funding Group. So before we do anything, let's roll that promo.
Hi, my name is Lawrence Fish. I'm with Weed Corley Fish Funeral and Cremation Services in Austin, Texas. And today I wanted to say thanks to Jamie Meredith and C&J Financial for all the great work that they do for funeral homes around the country. For the funeral homes that are struggling with cash flow and the filing of insurance policies, I can't more highly recommend Jamie and his team at C&J Financial. The customer service is first class. They're prompt with following up on claims, and it has been a tremendous asset to us in helping with cash flow and also helping families at a time of need. So thank you for your team, Jamie, and those at C&J Financial, and we appreciate everything you do for funeral homes.
All right, Jeff, you are in a boot camp because you're the commander, and
Yes,
I'm in
I am.
Ohio. And for the last, I think, almost 4 weeks, you and I have done this show like around travel schedules and crazy hustle. So this one's going to take a little bit different form, but I think it's going to be what the people like. So what do we got coming up?
Hey, you know what? We're going to talk about a lot of cool news that's up and recent, so we want to have a little commentary on that. And we're also going to have a quick interview with a funeral home owner director who is running for office. I think that's something we need to talk about.
Big deal. All right, Jeff. So in the news this week, big news out of California. They are going to be allowing water cremation or alkaline hydrolysis. So I think it's interesting that the headline now is water cremation versus alkaline hydrolysis, which has been the term for the last couple of years. So we're softening the blow for the consumer. So it's something they can understand, I think.
Yeah, and it's interesting because obviously there's a demand for something a little different than the fire.
Yep.
And this also presents new challenges for funeral directors. Are you still going to embalm and offer for full services, or are we just going to stick our head in the sand and that's just an automatic from death into this particular chamber device? So I think it's great for us.
Mm-hmm.
It's something new. Embrace it. Figure out how to make it work for your firm.
Is this a way for funeral directors to maybe raise the price of cremation, since it's a newer type of form of cremation where we can kind of get away from the idea that cremation is super cheap?
Yeah, and it's funny you say that. I don't think they need a reason to raise prices.
I don't.
Right? You want to raise prices because you need to raise prices, right?
Right.
Yeah. So okay, now you have a reason to get your cremation prices where they're supposed to be. Yay!
Right. Yeah. Okay. Conversation.
Speaking of which, how about Ellery and Aftercare.com? Let's roll his promo.
Are you a funeral director who just can't find time to follow up with your families? We all know how important aftercare is, but meeting with families and running a funeral home doesn't leave much time for anything else. The Aftercare Card program is an automated program that sends out 4 cards plus a survey to your families during the first year following a loss. You simply go to aftercare.com and enroll your family and you're done. It literally takes about a minute and the cost is only $20 per family. Visit aftercare.com today to learn more and get a free sample.
You know, Ryan, it's interesting. I'm in the sphere of acquisitions and sales of funeral homes. And now we have a new player on the market, Platinum Celebration Services. I talked to Jim, their CEO, last week, and I hope to perhaps have him on the show here soon. But there's a new player on the market. So as we're looking into the future, you know that the average age of a funeral home owner in the United States is 66 years old. There's going to be some sales going on. And we're going to have to prepare ourselves for either join them, sell them, or find somebody who wants to buy. It's going to be a different world here in the next 3 to 4 years.
It absolutely is, and it feels like this is the shift the profession is going as more and more family-owned firms leave the family. So, I mean, Jeff, you deal on this side far more than I do. Is the market large for another consolidator, and how does the consolidator make themselves more appealing than some of the established consolidators that are already out there?
Well, I probably will get shot at for this, but when you go to consolidators, and we're looking at SCI just posted some pretty interesting stats about their business. They're doing the business right, and so for survival in the future, it depends on many factors. Number one, if you want to sell your firm, is there a buyer that actually finds value in it?
Yeah.
What if you don't have a legacy? Do you have a key person there? What are you going to do as an owner if you do want to sell your firm? A consolidator doesn't want it. You don't have a legacy to pass it off onto, and you don't have a key person, and your competition won't buy it. There's a question for everyone. Yeah, we've got some solutions I'm actually working on that may fill this gap, as we say, but it's still there, and we're going to see a lot more. There are going to be some funeral homes closing because simply they're not in the market to be purchased.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, one of the good things we have is a partnership with United Bank, who wants to give you money to buy.
There you go.
Let's go ahead and roll that.
Shifting trends in family choices, expanding corporate ownership, rising costs. The funeral and death care industry is changing with each new year. At United Community Bank, our team of funeral and death care lending specialists understand the need for capital for acquisitions, expansions, renovations, equipment upgrades, and more. And we make the loan application process as quick and easy as possible.
We really are a community bank at heart, and we really are the bank that service built. We do have many products that are specifically designed for small business, and that really is a big focus of the bank. And that's an area that we want to continue to focus on, that we bring these unique solutions to small businesses.
United Community Bank has the industry knowledge, resources, and the team in place to help make your goals a reality.
All right, Jeff. So this next kind of news topic is an interesting one. Jamie Lee Curtis is going to be producing and starring in a new sitcom that is loosely based off of a family funeral home.
Yes, I think that's going to be pretty cool. I have, as you well know, our agent from the Funeral Nation has reached out to them that we may do some cameo appearances on this new sitcom, which will help it. It'll help it succeed magnanimously.
Oh,
that's
absolutely.
A big word for me this morning, right? For
the audience that we can bring to this show. I mean, come on.
It's entirely possible. Again, our agent's working on that. Josh, write that note down.
Yeah, that's right.
But I think that's great. The more light can be brought on the profession, fine. I know that there's probably going to be some things in there that people don't like, but hey, they don't talk about you, they don't think about you, right?
Yep, absolutely. And here's a funny thing. So we put out that article about Jamie Lee Curtis and Platinum Services launching kind of an SCI competitor the same day. The Jamie Lee Curtis article was viewed over 13,000 times, so almost double what the SCI competitor article was viewed. So it's interesting where in the profession we want to put our attention. Do we want to put our attention on things that affect the livelihood of our business, or do we care more about a sitcom that's coming out? So just interesting food for fodder.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and be myself here. I saw a thread the other day that I was involved with where they're talking about wearing brown shoes as a fad. It had long responses to it, but unfortunately, nobody wanted to talk about EBITDA. So whatever. Hey, let's talk about something important, and that's Pierce Chemical. Lance Ray and the guys. Let's roll, Lance.
Pierce is the bomber's choice for fluids and over 1,800 different prep room supplies in stock. Visit us at piercechemical.com to learn more about Pierce.
Yeah, and awesome for Pierce, 50th year, the 50th year anniversary of the Duotronic, and they're giving away a gold-plated Duotronic at NFDA. So make sure you check out their site for more information on that.
That's it. Lastly, on news, your man, Gary Vee, tell us what's going on with him.
Yeah, so Gary Vee has the Ask Gary Vee show, which gets millions of views every single week. And it's basically a call-in show. People comment on Facebook on the live feed and with their phone number, and Gary calls them. So our friend who is a supporter of Connecting Directors and actually does a lot of guest writing for us, Justin Crow, who is the owner of Cremation Designs, the lifeware company. If you remember correctly, earlier this year, we interviewed Justin at our office and put out an article about they're taking cremated remains, putting them in a ceramic glaze, and then using that glaze to make lifeware, plates, dishes, jewelry, a lot of different things. So they're infusing cremated remains into a glaze that goes on a ceramic product. Very, very wild, very crazy, and the PR that he's gotten around this is fantastic. So Justin called into the Gary Vee show and asked Gary Vee and his guest Tony Conrad, how does he break into a market where the funeral profession is so slow to adopt? Is it better to go B2B and use the funeral home as the way to get to the retail, or should he go B2C and kind of what are the pros and cons of each? Very interesting conversation. And I know, Jeff, you and I have been in a lot of consulting deals together with companies that the end user is the consumer, but the funeral home is how they're trying to sell product. And I know I'm not a big fan of relying on somebody else to sell my product for me, specifically when in this profession, nobody is marketing to the consumer to drive the consumer to the funeral home. So everything, education, marketing, everything is relying on the funeral home. And well, we kind of know how that goes.
Yeah, one of the world's greatest and foremost important marketing guys says, bypass the funeral home. Y'all better watch and listen, okay, because we're going to hinder ourselves.
Yeah, the marketplace, the market is the market, and the consumer is going to be the bearer of the direction that we should go. Whether we want to draw a line in the sand and lose money, or do we want to play where they want to play and make money and everybody wins, funeral home and the vendor side. So interesting conversation, but I would encourage everybody to look that episode up. I think it was episode 265. I could be wrong, but it is on Connecting Directors. And if you go to iTunes, you can watch it. If you go to Facebook and the Facebook Watch app, go to the Gary Vee episode. Gary Vee's Facebook page, he actually segmented out just that call. It was about 8 minutes and called it the craziest business product that he's ever done consulting on. So pretty awesome.
Excuse me. And speaking of great marketing, this little segment was brought by Skyways Media. Will you run that video?
Skyways Media is a family-owned and operated business specializing in the design and print of funeral planning guides throughout the USA and Canada. Our guides are written individually for your home and are an excellent community information resource, along with acting as a high-class marketing tool for your business. The best part is that they are provided at zero cost to the funeral home.
Hey everybody, we are blessed today and excited to have Mark Smith from Charleston, South Carolina. Actually Mount Pleasant, right across the bridge over there. But we both speak a little bit of Geechee and understand what that is, yeah?
So I can understand you, sir.
Yes, sir. All right.
Good morning, y'all.
Hey Mark, how about introduce yourself and share with us about your professional credentials first?
Sure. Well, first of all, let me say how honored I am to be here with you and with Ryan, and just thank you guys for what you do and for what you bring into our profession. It is it's always a breath of fresh air and always brightens my day when I'm able to click on that link, and encourage all of you out there to share it with your professional friends, and let's continue to get more likes and more views, and continue to spread the good news that you guys are doing. But good morning again. My name is Mark Smith. I am from Mount Pleasant, South Carolina, South Carolina native. So I apologize for those of you who don't speak English, don't speak Southern, but here we are. I was able to partner with the McAllister family funeral home down in Charleston, South Carolina, which was founded in 1886 in Charleston. So my business partner, Archie Willis, is a fourth generation family member. We have 5 locations in the Charleston area, and I'm a past president of Cana and pretty active in my community and wear a couple hats.
Well, I think that's what Ryan's going to ask you about right now.
Yeah, Jeff, Mark, you've got some huge news to announce and kind of breaking it here on Funeral Nation. So what is that news?
Ryan, thank you so very much. So I am an elected official in Mount Pleasant. I'm finishing up a 4-year term, and I've decided not to seek re-election for my seat on town council in order to allow me to step up to a special election for a recently vacated state house seat in Columbia. So I will be running in a special election in the November 14th primary in South Carolina.
That is fantastic.
You know, it's interesting in our profession that our profession produces so many leaders in different areas. And we have a number, I know CJ Small down in Mobile, Alabama is in politics and is a leader in his community. But what made you think about not necessarily stepping away from the funeral business, but broadening your presence in your community and serving your area?
You know, and Jeff, I'm glad you reworded that because that's exactly how I feel. It's actually increasing the scope and the bandwidth of what we're able to do in that servant leadership role. So my philosophy, I was a huge Michael Gerber fan back in the day and loved the E-Myth that really changed how I run my business and how I live my life. For those of you who are unfamiliar with that, working on the business instead of in the business, highly recommend you read the E-Myth. It stands for the entrepreneurial myth. But I really have built a team around us. We have location managers, we have systems in place, and certainly excited about being a part of your boot camp to help us teach and train our team a little more. So a shout out to the Foresight boot camp class that's out there and available. But just really being able to take a conservative, limited government, small business owner message to government. I've had 5 ribbon cutting ceremonies in the 18 years I've been a part of McAllister Smith Funeral Homes down in Charleston. And I've seen firsthand how government can work for us and how government can work against us and make things more difficult. So that's the message that I wanted to bring to just on a statewide level that I brought on a local level over the past 4 years.
Well, I think that we'll have the Funeral Nation interview with him on the local news down there statewide. We'll probably make Fox. Senator, we wish you the best.
Hey,
great
thank you
job.
guys very much. Thank you, Jeff. Ryan, thank you guys for all
Thank you,
do,
Mark.
and, keep up the great work. We really appreciate you guys.
All right, brother. Thank you.
All right, we want to finish up real quick.
Yeah, so this interview segment was brought to us by Sitch Casket Company. Let's roll out promo.
Funeral Nation is sponsored by Sitch Casket. Sitch has changed everything for funeral homes facing declining profits from cremation, with casket quality equal to the top domestic brands but at half the cost or better. Enter now to win a free Sitch casket at sitchcasket.com. Sitch, only your accountant can tell the difference.
All right,
Ryan, I think this was a great show today. It was exciting.
Loved it.
We had a cameo visit. We talked about some current events, and next week we'll be back with number 89. Getting closer to the big Super Bowl of NFDA.
You got it, Jeff. I appreciate you carving out the time while you're at boot camp. You're getting ready to go present, so we'll let you go. Thank you, brother. Until next time, have a great effing week.
Out here, y'all.